Arsenal have made it back-to-back wins after a 5-star performance in Lisbon, as Mikel Arteta's men sent out a statement. This performance was something special. So from Arsenal's Champions League star boy thriving once again, to the importance of Thomas Partey, Mikel Arteta's game changer on the right hand side, and I look into the performance of Victor Gyökeres. As per, let's break it all down and discuss the 5 things we learned from Sporting Lisbon 1, Arsenal 5. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Baz14, welcome back to your boys channel, and I know you guys are doing sensational because Arsenal have put in quite the Champions League performance. So we've got a lot to break down. As per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy on the road to 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with the Champions League star boy, going to a Sporting Lisbon side that had not lost all season. 18 games unbeaten, having scored 21 goals in the last 5 games. They had smoked Man City 4-1, sent statement after statement. But that's where enter Arsenal, becoming the first side to beat Sporting Lisbon at home in over a year. The start of this game was quite telling, as the field tilt shows. Arsenal ended the game 59%. The first half was utter dominance, sustaining pressure and playing at a very high intensity. And the player that sums it up to a T was the star boy Bukayo Saka. Once again thriving in the Champions League, this time with an 8.3 rating, 1 goal and 1 assist, 4 out of 9 dribbles completed, 1 key pass and 1 big chance created, not to mention 8 out of 15 ground balls won. Saka was involved in every single aspect, commanded the right hand side and causing Sporting so many issues. As he says after the game, we knew this was a big game. We lost our last Champions League game, and we had one in Europe in many games. I don't remember the last time we even scored a goal away. I was most proud of not letting the occasion affect us. And it's in the Champions League where Bukayo Saka is making quite a name, having produced another man of the match performance. He has now been directly involved in 15 goals for Arsenal this season, and we're only in November, taking his Arsenal numbers to a very impressive standard. 64 goals and 60 assists for Arsenal. Prior to the start of last season, we can't forget the conversations. The amount of people that are questioning Bukayo Saka's world-class capabilities because he hadn't done it in the Champions League. Fast forward 13 games into the competition, Saka now has 11 goals and assists, which is more than a certain Kylian Mbappe of the last 2 campaigns. You think back to the game against Nottingham Forest, the stats have been comparing to Erling Haaland and Mo Salah. Now you've got stats comparing him to Kylian Mbappe. These aren't opinions, these are now numbers, and they are undeniable. Forget about the likes of Phil Foden and Cole Palmer. Both are fantastic players, but Bukayo Saka right now is competing with Europe's elites. It's in this Champions League now where Bukayo Saka has a real chance going forwards. Come the knockout stages, we need to see the same level of performances. Him demand the ball and go make things happen. Because in this game here, he was terrorising. In a game that also had a lot of stats in their favour, possession was definitely not one with only 47%, with less final third entries at only 45. But a far higher expected threat rate of 4.1. The secret behind this game was the fact that we were very incisive with our passing, and the player that sums it up to a T is Thomas Partey. We're talking a 7.1 performance in 90 minutes, with an influential 72 touches and 92% of his passes completed, 1 key pass and 3 ground balls won. When it comes to the Champions League, this guy's profile is going to be so important. That ability to play incisive cue passes between the lines, finding Odegaard and Saka as soon as possible. Lastly, he was out injured and Arsenal missed his profile in the knockout stages. In those tight games against the likes of Bayern Munich, we weren't able to open teams apart centrally, often forced out wide and being far more predictable. With this level of Thomas Partey, Arsenal are far more dangerous in transition, because what they have is one of the most decisive number 6s in all of Europe. But when it comes to playing those risky progressive passes, it's something that Thomas Partey is elite at. And so far this year, I have to say he's been at a very high standard, improving himself game by game. For me, it's not really a surprise because Partey has always been a player all about rhythm. Now that he's starting games week in, week out, with the likes of Jorginho and Declan Rice also available, as long as Mikel Arteta is careful with his numbers, keeping him fit and available going into the knockout stages, and Uncle Thomas is going to be integral. Moving on to the second thing, Arsenal's defensive statement. Going to a Sporting Lisbon side with the most informed striker in Europe, with all the eyes on Victor Gyökeres before the game, having terrorised Man City, what was he going to do to Arsenal? Well, as Mikel Arteta said, they hadn't lost a game here in 18 months, but we wanted to make a statement. To then beat a side that had won all 11 of the league games so far this season, the statement really came via some defensive dominance, with Gabriel Magalhaes being one of our star performers. In the first half, he not only scored 1 goal, but he had more shots than Victor Gyökeres, producing a fantastic 7.5 rating, with 1 goal scored, 3 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions and 2 tackles, not dribbled past a single time, 2 out of 3 ground balls, and 86% of his passes completed. There's a certain level of dopamine that you get whenever he scores from a corner. The way he crashes that far post and rises so high, it's something that we're used to seeing happen against Arsenal, but now we are the bullies from set pieces. The thing that really caused controversy, of course, was the celebration. Bringing out Gyökeres' own celebration at his own ground, even though it wasn't done correctly. You've even got Bukayo Saka doing the same at the back. And I've got a feeling I know exactly why this happened. Throw back to Arsenal's game against Sporting in the Europa League all those seasons ago, knocking us out of the Emirates Stadium. You had a certain Pedro Gonçalves mocking Xhaka after the game, using his celebration against him. Gabriel Magalhaes is one to always take things personally. We've seen it in the past at other celebrations. It looks like he was out looking for a bit of revenge, producing yet another elite defensive performance, nullifying one of the best strikers in Europe to absolutely nothing. He was taken off in the 84th minute, and according to Mikel Arteta, he felt some discomfort. With Sterling initially being brought on, Mikel Arteta had to get Gabriel out instead. It looked like nothing major, so fingers crossed he's going to be perfectly fine. But defensively, it was also a joint masterclass, as Saliba and Gabriel both combined, holding Gyökeres to 0 goals and 0 dribbles completed, 1 out of 10 duels, and only 5 touches inside the box. For William Saliba, 4 clearances, 2 interceptions and 4 tackles, 4 out of 6 ground duels, 1 and 2 out of 2 in the air. 93% of his passes completed. I said it in the last video, I'm going to say it one more time. I believe William Saliba has reached a new level this season, even more consistently excellent. You think about that game against Forest against a striker like Awani, a physical player they struggled against in the past. Saliba this year is looking stronger than ever before, dealing with these physical strikers and completely nullifying them. In this game, it was the same with Victor Gyökeres. Every time he tried to go towards Saliba, Saliba would nick the ball back. So at one point I was even feeling a little bit sorry for Gyökeres, as Arsenal put up a defensive masterclass, conceding only 1 goal against a Sporting side that has scored 21 in the last 5 games. We also saw a very underrated performance from Ricardo Calafiori, a 6.5 rating, with 1 clearance, 1 block shot and 2 tackles, alongside 96% of his passes completed. The type of performance that won't be talked about, but it's exactly what you want from your fullback. A low-key performance keeping his winger quiet, doing his job silently and keeping himself very sturdy. For all the praise that Martin Odegaard is getting, the return of Ricardo Calafiori has been just as important for me. Not only allowing Timber to thrive on the right hand side, but on the left hand side Arsenal also have more tempo, with Calafiori being a very dynamic player. Every time he receives the ball, he always tries to make things happen. But if we're going to talk about the defence, the one player that I need to give flowers to is the Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya. Another fantastic performance goal with 8 crucial saves. 4 being inside the box, overall was an 8.3 rating, with a whopping 1.42 goals prevented, 15 accurate passes and 7 accurate long balls. This is becoming a theme for David Raya this season, consistently producing elite performances. Think about the game against Aston Villa away, Atalanta in the Champions League, and now you've got this performance here. What we now have is a goalkeeper that has been consistently excellent for over a year. Speaking ahead of the game against Sporting, where he said my career started when I signed for Arsenal, where a year ago there was so much style, all the comparisons to Aaron Ramsdale. Now you've got no one doubt on Mikel Arteta. Having signed David Raya to Arsenal, we now have a goalkeeper that is very silent. You rarely talk about him because how good he is at doing his job, doing the basics and commanding his box. His passing range in this game was excellent. Not only finding Kai Havertz time and time again, but even when it came to the short, incisive passes, Raya had the confidence to fire them into the midfielders, reaching a new level of confidence this year. He is up there with the best goalkeepers in the world. Moving on to the third thing, Mikel Arteta's game changers. After weeks of seeing Arsenal struggle to score goals, with only 1 goal in the 3 games prior to the international break, we have now scored 8 goals in the last 2 games, scoring 5 in the Champions League away game for the first time since 2008. The real impressive stat is the expected goals, holding Sporting to a 0.97 and also racking up 4.23. There was a sense of fluidity in the Arsenal attack, and the key thing for me is the passing networks. Look at the right hand side and what you see straight away is how much Arsenal focused on it. Partey, Timber, Havertz, Saka and Odegaard all drifting over. Arsenal were playing to their strengths and they were causing Sporting all sorts of issues. With a returning sense of confidence to the Arsenal attack, it's no surprise this come with the return of the captain Martin Odegaard, producing a 7.7 rating in 78 minutes, 82 touches and 56 accurate passes, alongside 2 key passes and 1 penalty won. As Bukayo Saka said after the game, Martin Odegaard is an unbelievable player. Today he returned and there was a big smile on my face. You could see the chemistry we have, how much I enjoy playing with him. I'm happy he's back and hope he stays fit for the rest of the season. I'm not sure if it's just me, but since the return of Odegaard, we've seen him and Saka produce an even more deadly partnership, combining even better than before. The understanding is clearly growing. Martin Odegaard's gone from being seen as a system player to becoming Mikel Arteta's entire system, and we could talk and rave about his influence on the ball, but a key aspect for me is his off-the-ball work rate. For an Arsenal side that had lost their out-of-possession edge, since the return of Martin Odegaard we can't underestimate his impact in pressing. The amount of times he's able to nick the ball back and help Arsenal transition, while also able to collect the ball in the final third and turn straight away, allows Saka to stay high up the pitch and hurt teams, because he knows that Odegaard's able to find him. With the captain back in full flow, there's one thing that's impressed me the most about Arsenal in the last 2 games, the returning level of fluidity. Having seen it back in 2022-23, where Arsenal blowing teams apart in the first half, these last 2 games have been a bit of a throwback. Watching Arsenal players drift all across the pitch, not scared to leave their zones and go across. The prime example for me is the heat map of Declan Rice. Having produced another impressive 7.3 rating, he may have started as a left number 8, but as shown by his heat map, he was often drifting over to the right hand side. having also got another assist from a corner. He now has 20 goals and assists in 1.5 seasons for Arsenal, with 8 goals and 12 assists in total. For an Arsenal attack that had become so predictable prior to Odegaard's return, these last 2 games have been very refreshing, watching Arsenal not just be effective in the final third, but also as importantly entertaining. For a lot of Arsenal fans, they have got their joy back. A game changer for Arsenal has been the return of Timber on the right hand side, producing a very impressive 7.6 rating, with a fantastic assist for Gabriel Martinelli. 1 clearance, 2 interceptions and 1 tackle, 4 out of 6 ground balls won, 93% of his passes completed, 3 key passes and 1 big chance created, 2 out of 2 dribbles. That, my friends, is the definition of complete. A fullback comfortable in every area of the pitch. Defending 1v1, he can do it, but also comfortable drifting in the final third. The example being the way he got the assist. Not scared to enter the half space, then fire with a fantastic cross for Gabriel Martinelli. When we talk about fluidity, Mikel Arteta's fullbacks are a very important part of that. Ricardo Calafiori and Yuri and Timber, both comfortable playing higher up the pitch. When you think about Jurgen Klopp's prime Liverpool, the impact of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson also now have a new fullback partnership developing. And for Yuri and Timber to have hit these heights straight away, a year after coming off an ACL injury, it's a sign that he's built different physically. On the right hand side with Saka and Odegaard are both thriving, Timber takes the right hand side to a brand new level. A defender as comfortable with the ball as a number 8. Ben White may have been out for months, but with this level of timber, not many Arsenal fans are going to mention it. Moving on to the fourth thing, Kai's excellence. With all the talk going into the game being about a certain Victor Gyökeres, I actually think the standout striker of the game was Kai Havertz, scoring once again for Arsenal this season, making it 8 goals for the season. He is currently Arsenal's highest scorer in all competitions, having now scored his 100th career club goal, 46 for Leverkusen and 32 for Chelsea, 22 for Arsenal. This was a real complete centre-forward performance. We're talking a 7.6 rating with 1 goal scored, 1 shot on target and 1 shot blocked, 46 touches and 32 accurate passes, 5 out of 7 duels won in the air, helping also link up play and go long. The amount of times he was able to flick the ball towards Bukayo Saka. The work rate was there as ever. A look into his heat map shows he is still emphasised quite a lot on the right hand side, but the return of Martin Odegaard is also allowed to play more centrally. He uses 6'5" frame inside the box, alongside a very good striker's instincts. The example of course being the goal. In the right position at the right time. When the absence of Martin Odegaard, Havertz was having to adapt. Now they've got a very functional right hand side. Having Havertz more centrally is going to be crucial, not just in terms of getting Arsenal more goals, but also allowing the left hand side to thrive. With a key aspect of Arsenal's play being getting the ball to the right, then firing crosses towards the left. You even had a goal for Gabriel Martinelli in this game, alongside a 7.3 rating, with only 19 touches all game and 5 accurate passes. In the first half, a whopping 65% of our attacks came on the right hand side. But to make us that much more unpredictable, we need to find a sense of balance, be as threatening on both sides. Off the bench, you even had a goal for Leandro Trossard, making it a 5-star performance for Arsenal. One can only imagine once Mikel Merino gets in this Arsenal starting 11, builds a real partnership alongside Calafiori and Martinelli, with Havertz also playing centrally, Arsenal should have more balance going forwards. But if we're going to talk about forwards, let's talk about the one playing for Sporting Lisbon. All the eyes before the game on a certain Victor Gyökeres, and rightly so. After 24 goals and 4 assists in 20 club appearances this season, Saliba and Gabriel may have bullied him. At times it looked a bit unfair, as Gyökeres produced a 6.8 rating, with 2 shots on target and 3 off target, 1 time hitting the post, alongside 3 key passes and 90% of his passes completed. He only won 1 out of 8 ground balls, 0 out of 2 in the air, but there was a sense of urgency every time he got the ball. Yes, it was hard for him physically, but with real power behind his shots. At times in the second half he was causing a bit of issues, especially once Gabriel went off injured. Against Kiwior, he nearly scored. I wouldn't go as far as saying it was a stinking performance, it was more a defensive masterclass, but the threat of Gyökeres still being there all game, at times creating stuff out of nothing. With all the comparisons that Arsenal are putting out there, and of course the links towards Alexander Isak, having watched Gyökeres for a full 90 minutes against his Arsenal defence, he may have struggled, but I want your guys' honest opinions down below in the comments. Hypothetically speaking, if he was in our system, would he thrive more and would he score more goals? Moving on to the fifth thing, the remontada. As Arsenal smashed 5 past Sporting Lisbon in what was Mikel Arteta's best ever Champions League performance. Here was Mikel after the game, smiling and gleaming, with the fattest smile we've seen all season. And rightly so, because the level of the performance, against the same Sporting side that had beaten Man City 4-1 only a few weeks ago, to have cruised in the first half and gone 3-0 up, then even in the second half when things got tough, found a way to slow the game down and get themselves another 2 goals. For Arsenal, it was a major win away from home in the Champions League, having failed to win all their games prior to that in 2024, struggled to score against Atalanta or Inter. After a 5-star performance in Lisbon, we are now 7th in the Champions League table, with 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss, and 10 points in total. In the same table, we've also got a certain Man City in 15th. And the reason why we have to talk about them is the game that we're involved in. A 3-3 draw against Feyenoord at home, making it 6 games allowed to win now, not only losing the game on XG, but despite being up 3-0 in the 74th minute, they bottled a 3-goal lead, becoming the first team in Champions League history to fail to win after leading by 3+ goals after the 75th minute. It really was an historical bottling. With all the talk of Erling Haaland telling Mikel Arteta to stay humble, maybe he should have taken his own advice, because for Man City now things are looking very worrying. Having lost an XG for the last 5 consecutive games, you can't even say they're getting unlucky. But having won 4 out of the last 5 league titles, the threat is still there. And having won 6 games without a win, it makes that game on Sunday that much more important. A trip to Anfield against Liverpool, who are currently 8 points clear top of the league. Now City don't have a great record at Anfield, but football is a very funny game, especially in the Premier League. We have seen some weird things happen this season. For Arsenal, we can only focus on ourselves, currently in 4th, with a massive game against West Ham away this weekend. Playing before both Liverpool and Man City, we've got a chance to close the gap and go above City, and more importantly start a remontada. Because in the season so far, where Arsenal had a very tough start to the season, referees giving us red cards when they weren't red cards, injuries to our captain and other key players. For the next 9 games, Arsenal will not leave London once, with a game against United after West Ham, Fulham away, Monaco at home, Everton at home and Palace away, Ipswich at home and Brentford away. We've got a prime chance to go on a massive run, and with 8 goals in the last 2 games, the momentum is certainly building. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was the 5 things we learned from Sporting Lisbon 1, Arsenal 5. It was really a 5-star performance, so much good stuff to break down, and a lot to look forward to going into the future. Major games are coming up and Arsenal need to go on a run. So my friends, we'll speak very soon. Take care, and a bit.